Callahan's Corner, where you ask the questions and we answer them live on Facebook right here. So had a question by a longtime listener, Hale, and had a question regarding if I've already kind of figured out how to incorporate drive time in my estimates, already watching your videos, how do I go out and actually raise the prices? So I'm actually going to pull up the comment here that was submitted so I can actually put some context to this. And then I'm actually going to go in and show you how to answer this question that Hale had. It's actually a really good question. So Mike, great video for drive time, but the problem is when I'm evaluating each client each year, basically, how do I tackle the actual drive time that is actually occurred on the client level and increase the price? So the methodology that we teach at Simple Growth, and you got to make your own decision, but the idea here is what we've used in my company and we've taught hundreds of other businesses is when we go out to build an estimate, we actually go out and create an average drive time for each zip code or town or area that we're servicing. So we're capturing the average drive time to that type of job, whether it's lawn mowing, fertilizing, home cleaning. And then Hale's question is, well, now that we've already done that, can we go in and do a deeper evaluation if we need to raise the price? So if we're not making money on the actual job itself, or the drive time is wonky for some reason. So absolutely, there is a way of doing that. So I'm going to go in and open up my screen as we usually do and kind of break down a methodology to this here and show you. So if you have any questions or comments on the live screen or in the recorded version, I'll keep an eye on this. So the idea here is when we're in Service Autopilot, I'll put a little background to this, and then I'm actually going to dive right into Hal's question. But I want to lay the foundational part. If you've never charged drive time in Service Autopilot, I'm not going to necessarily show you how to do it, but I'm going to show you how it's incorporated in the estimate. So first thing we're doing is usually going into the More tab, we're going into property measurements, and we're going to measure the property. Now, you can see once I open this up here, I've already got this property measured out and saved. So once I've measured out my turf square footage, I'm going to go in and take the different property areas here that would be applicable. So I've measured out the pavement and knocked that to 0, and the pool fictitiously here is negative. So I've got turf square footage of 7,600 square feet. So I want to go down and hit this to custom field and scroll down to my turf square footage. You'd probably never have these many custom fields, but in this test environment, we do. The idea is custom field here for turf square footage, we hit save. Now we've saved the custom field or the number that we're multiplying our production rate off of for, say, lawn mowing. And then I'll show you how we incorporate the drive time. And then when all these jobs are done 6 months or 12 months later, how do we go out and actually create property-specific price raises if we're not hitting the actual numbers we need to hit? So we're going to go in my idea, we're going to hit templates. We're going to select the lead template because this is a different marketing conversation than a client. But quickly, we've got the 7,600 square feet that load in here. And based on our matrices, obviously this is fictitious pricing. You don't want to copy it, but we're charging $30 per cut. It's going to take us 0.4 man hours on site only, and it's costing us break even $14.76 fully loaded. Now, part of the question was when we add the drive time, we've created average drive times for each one of these numbers here on the left or towns. So if I go into the first one here and put the number 1, we're making one trip, so it's 0.16 man hours times the hourly rate in this account. We should be charging $8.09 on average. So that full price of that mowing, when I go from draft to quote, all the consumer is going to see is $38.09, but we're going to have the on-site production time of 0.4 hours and the 0.16 for average drive time, and it's going to give us a total of 0.56 man hours. So if we start at job A, and we're going to job B, the timer basically starts for that job because we're going to grab the drive time and then the on-site time. So we're going to hit quote. We're going to scroll down and hit save. And I'm not going to go through emailing this out to you because the question in lies now, once we have good data in, hopefully good data out, how do we raise the price on this and incorporate that? So I'm just going to do a quick preview. So if you haven't seen this before, you're new to SA, you got an idea what we're driving at far as the estimate. Then I'm going to actually hop in and show you the report center and how we tackle this. So we've got the estimate here in the preview, but all you see is lawn mowing for the 3809. So the consumer never sees that price breakdown, but you've incorporated both of these here. So that is the best way to tackle that, in my opinion. So now that we've kind of incorporated that drive time, Hale's question is, well, how do I go to the end of the year and make sure that I got good pricing? So the first thing you want to do without turning this into a 30-minute video is it's a daily process. So the closeout day screen is probably the most important screen in the whole entire system in Service Autopilot. And the reason why it's the most important screen in Service Autopilot is it's the last place a human touches it. So that closeout day screen is when you're clocking in and out of the mobile. So the crews have got their mobile phones and they're clocking in and out. And if you have it set up where they're clocking in and out of the drive time, that's going to go in and give you even more data for this report, exactly what the question is based around. So we're clocking in and out of the mobile for drive time and on site. And we're going to go in to basically at the end of the closeout day screen each day, we're going to do a quick swipe through to make sure we have a start and stop time that makes sense. And they're not under like basically a minute. So the crew maybe went and mowed the lawn, got in the truck to go to the next job and was like, oh, we never clocked in. They clock in and clock out to get to the next job. So that's a manual task that your office or virtual assistant should be looking at to make sure we got good data in, good data out. We need to address those daily. We want to make sure there's a budgeted time because we're going to need that for this report. And we also want to make sure that there is a price. We're billing this out. You'd be surprised how many accounts we get into where there's no budgeted time and there's no price. They mow the lawn for 6 months and they've never billed out a single instance. So that is something that we obviously want to be aware of. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to go into the report center. So under the gear eye or under report center, this is going to open up to the new report center. And unless you're really well versed in this and you want to make a custom report, what I'm going to recommend is going into the little toaster icon, I like to call it here, SA report. And we want to pull a job costing report analysis. And as we scroll down, it is going to be right here. So it is a job cost summary report. And that's the report that you want to pull in. And now what you're going to want to do is, it does not give you the granularity of the new report center, but it's going to give you the numbers that you need. So you want to put your start and end date, so probably the whole entire season or 6 months. We recommend right around July 4th, that next week we run a halfway point ballpark, depending where you're at in the country, and then the whole entire season. So the idea is we're going to catch the accounts that are misbid halfway through the season, and then before we renew the contract and start the heavy part of the season again, whether you're in the north or south, various time-wise, but we recommend November, December, we run this report again. Now, we can do it by resource here. So we can do in each one of the crews, or I'd recommend going into the actual service and going into your commercial or residential mowing if that's the case and run that out. But once you do that, everything loads in here, we export to Excel. What we're going to do is take that Excel report and paste it into a sheet like this. So this is our job costing report that we provide in our KPI plus accountability package. So we're going to kind of give a real quick overview of the first page of this because this is actually really important, whether you're using our product or just another sheet that you make yourself. But the idea is we want to make sure we have good data in, good data out. So like I said, the closeout day screen is really that most important screen of all of Service Autopilot, in my opinion, or at least one of the top three. So what we're going to do at the end of each day is take in the bottom of the dispatch board, the total budgeted time. So let's say it's 18 right here. We pump that 18 hours in. We're going to put the start time, the stop time, the total hours, and the lunch for the employees in there. Half hour, crew members' names, 2 hours. This is a manual process, and this can be automated. And if anybody knows me, I love to automate everything I can. This is something I recommend as a manual process. It's 2 to 3 minutes a day per crew, but it's forcing someone in the office to make sure there's good information on the closeout day screen. So whether you bill daily, weekly, or monthly, you've got good information in for your invoicing, your job costing, which is this, and your payroll reporting. So we don't want to go out and raise our prices if we've got bad data in there. So this is really, really important, in my opinion, to do a manual sanity check daily. So once we put in the budgeted time from the dispatch board, it's going to force us to check we've got budgeted time, a price, and good data in for start and stop times. We put this in. So this crew's worked from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 10 hours with a lunch a half hour, and there's 2 people on the crew. What the sheet does in our KPI package is it says, what's the total gross hours minus the lunch? We've got payroll hours just for this one day of 19 hours. And our budgeted was 18. So we were 1 hour over budget. And that's what the sheet is telling us here. And what happens here is this percentage of budget, this 94.74, is telling us one thing, that they are over budget. So the way we design the math behind this is we could explain to the crew, if you only gave 94% today, you didn't do your job with a quality constraint. Now, if I said they were budgeted 19 hours and plugged that in, and it took them 19 hours, the sheet will update and actually go to 100% when it catches up here. Now, that's an easy conversation for my team to say, hey, you guys gave 100%, you hit the budget hours, and there was a quality constraint. You did 100%, you did your job. But if we gave them 20 hours and they did it in 19, now the sheet says, hey, you're 1 hour under budget. That's good. And the way that looks like is I can have a conversation with my team saying, you gave 105% today. You did up and above what you needed to do with a quality constraint, so you kicked butt. So we take this number, we put it on that dry erase board, or like the TV behind me up in the shop, and we have public accountability with actual versus budget as a percentage. So if one crew was scheduled for 10 hours, another was 6 hours, there's no animosity. So we have public accountability for production with a quality control that's built in. And in this sheet, in the KPI product that we build, we have each crew here. And as you scroll to the right, I believe we've gone out to as many as 13 or 14 crews for some folks. So this is going to track each crew. So it'll dial into the pain point of the crew that aren't making money for you. And I predict that you have several crews making money for you, but then you have one or two that are bleeding you dry. So this forces you not only to have good data in, good data out for job cost tracking on the week, but it forces you to see where your pain points are to go in and fix them and retrain that crew. So either you coach up or you coach out. And it's a pretty easy conversation once you see this. So on the left-hand side, if we had more crews, it gives us a sum total for the week of our actual versus budgeted for all of our crews. So this way we can see, are we making money per crew and all the crews as a whole? But what it doesn't do, and just like in Hal's conversation or question was, how do I go into each one of my jobs to make sure I'm making money on? So throughout the year, on average, we want to make sure we're making money, but it's really applicable that we need to go in at least twice a year, in my opinion, to go into each account and run a job costing report through the report center here. And when we get that data, we're going to go in and raise those prices non-emotionally. So under job costing report, we've already built this out with formulas in here for you. But the example is you would paste your Excel export. I've only left 2 lines in here just to keep it simplistic, but you would have maybe several thousand cells here. But this is all your work in all the stops that I've been at this one house, and every customer is in here. So what we've got is revenue total. So obviously we're charging $54.28, but maybe some southern states, if you're just sticking to a lawn mowing example, you may be charging less or have less budgeted time in a winter scenario where you're just maintaining, but it's not regular maintenance. So we can catch an average on here and run this on a whole. Now we've got our budgeted man hours. So in this scenario, we're budgeting $50.26 per man hour is our goal. And if you have any comments or questions on this, I'm going to look over the screen here to see if there's any while I'm going. Drop them below here because I'm happy to answer these live. But this is how we non-emotionally raise the prices in my business. So this number right here, 54.28 and 60.31, are the numbers that actually came off that dispatch, basically the dispatcher, now the closeout day screen. So when I said we needed a good start and stop time that was realistic, this is why we needed to have that sanity check in the KPI sheet here that we do daily is going to force you to make sure. But now I know I've got good data in. But based on my start and stop time, this crew made $54.28 per man hour on site, and they made $60.31 per man hour on site. So on average, they generated $57.30 per man hour on site. Now, Hal's question is a good one, and I don't have data in here for the drive time, but I can show you what it does. So we can have a drive time effect. Now, when we use the mobile and we clock in and out of that mobile, that's the drive time effect. That's going to pull that data in there for you. So now you have a full picture of drive time plus on site. And what we've done in this sheet here is, if you remember, we generated an average of $57.30 per man hour. And we're going to plug in a number here. So say this $50 per man hour, that's my goal, my revenue per man hour. That's what we want to make. So the sheet says, based on that, $50 per man hour, and we've generated 57, our current mow price is $54.28, and our new mow price is $54.28. the increase per cut is $0 because we are $7 and change above our revenue goal, which was $57.30. So conversely, let's just say our revenue goal is $60 per hour. What the sheet does is non-emotionally, it goes in and says, based on your $60 an hour and the actual time your crew spent on site and drive time, if you have that clocked in out of the mobile, you need to go from $54.28 to $56.84. So your price per cut actually needs to go up $2.56 per cut on average to cover your team's inefficiency or the mistakes that you've made in estimating. In addition, you can see the lot size. So if you have that custom field, that's a job variable, and you track that, you could also probably filter out and aggregate that to see based on different square foot ranges, maybe 0 to 5,000 on average, we can mow, blow, and edge this property so quickly. And maybe between 5,001 to 8,000, we have this kind of production rate. So this is where we can take really good data here after 6 to 12 months and create a standardized production rate based estimating system based on not industry averages, but your actual guys and girls in the field and your equipment setup. So really important, but Hal, this is what I would recommend. Obviously you can definitely build this yourself. If you're looking for some help, we have our KPI product where this is actually sent to you on a daily basis, and it's KPI. So you fill it out. And if you don't fill it out by 2 and 5 PM, you will get a text message letting you know you didn't do your homework for the previous morning. But we want to do KPI, key performance indicators, actual versus budgeted with good data in and good data out. And that's why this sheet's important. It's a manual task, but it's forcing someone in your office or a virtual assistant to fill that out. And then you can get that report on a daily basis. So not necessarily saying the owner has to do this, but you should be meeting with your team on a daily or weekly basis to review this so you know exactly where you're at. And then our job costing, in most scenarios, in most markets, I'm going to say beginning of July, right after the 4th of July weekend is traditionally where we do it. And then again, in end of November, beginning of December. So we're raising those prices. A lot of people in the Facebook world are always talking about raising their prices across the board by a percentage or certain dollars per cut. In my opinion, that's probably the stupidest thing you can do, because if you have an account you're making over $100 on and your goal is 60, in essence, what you're doing is really shopping your most profitable accounts and in essence, probably keeping your least profitable accounts. Now, if it's a fertilization weed control scenario, you can run these reports, but maybe if you have a product increase by 2 or 3%, that scenario makes sense. But in like just a basic lawn mowing example, I don't think a wholesale increase across the board is wise, because literally what you're doing is getting, or at least you're encouraging your most profitable customers to go out and get a new price, while your least expensive or least profitable clients probably already know they're getting a good deal and they're going to keep you with the price increase for the most part. So question was, how do you handle this price increase? This is how we tackle this, how we recommend handling it. The KPI plus accountability sheets I'm showing you here are a great tool. And it's pretty cool here because we've already built in the formulas here up top, and you can see in the top. And when you drag that down, it automatically calculates the price for all your clients once you got the good data in there. So comments, questions, drop them below. I'm going to hop a look over on this other screen here just to see if there is any other questions on here. And looks like we got quite a few people watching, but no questions. So I must have done my job, which is positive. So once again, if you have any questions or comments on this video, drop them below. We'd like to answer them live or recorded. And if you have any future questions, just like Hal did for today, Callahan's Corner, you ask the questions, we answer them live here on Facebook to help you run a more profitable and delegatable business, whether it's lawn care, home cleaning, pest control, pet waste removal, soft washing, whatever it may be. We are working with companies in all different industries and helping them implement tactics and solutions in their business through Service Autopilot and some things that we take from Service Autopilot and manipulate outside. But the idea is we want to be your solution for success and help entrepreneurs, especially service business owners, take their life back from the business by empowering you with the tools for success. So Callahan's Corner, you ask the questions, we answer them live on Facebook. We'll see you again tomorrow.